Hello, America and curling fans from Canada and Newfoundland. This is your host, Ryan, with you from the 2023 MoPac Men's and Women's Club Playdowns, coming to you live from the San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club. This is your host, Ryan, with you with a quadruple header of games today. Just a lot of curling action, and we're happy to bring it to you. This first game is a matchup between Team Akiyama from San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club. Team Akiyama is taking on Team Fleming from Coyotes Curling Club. And rocks are in play. We are underway as that second stone, that first stone from Akiyama is going through the house. So it looks like Akiyama won the hammer, and updating the scoreboard accordingly. This is the net shot coming from the lead for Team Fleming. That is Brian Onken. He's been curling for 4 years. Has included appearances at the 2020 5 and Under Nationals. He was also at the Club Playdowns in 2021 and 2019, and was also a 5 and Under runner-up at the MoPac regional events in 2019. So a solid amount of experience as Onken's second shot draws into the top of the house. It looks like they're calling for a little bumper weight, it looks like, for Team Akiyama's second shot by lead. We'll find out who the lead is in just a moment. So it looks like that weight's pretty good. Going to tap and a nice gentle raise. One of the good things about takeouts, or one solid piece of advice about takeouts, is that you don't have to throw a missile most of the time. You can throw a reasonable amount of weight, and you don't have to throw a bomb to get rid of the rock and then hopefully stick around. Also, if you throw with a little bit less weight, it's a little easier for the sweepers to control, and it also increases the chances, as I said, of sticking around. So that's today's top tip for curling, brought to you by a sponsor that we don't have yet. This is again a nice gentle weight, and this is both teams are doing it right now. That's just a little bit more than hack weight, and that's all you need. And now Fleming is sitting 2, and these teams are trading hits back and forth. This next rock coming from the second for Team Akiyama. So let's see if they have another hit on tap here. Looks like they're holding the line pretty well. It is starting to curl a decent amount. I think they were able to get around the guard, and they're definitely around the guard. They were able to roll undercover a little bit, and Akiyama is sweeping the heck out of that stone and gets it to the back line. It is still in play. A stone has to fully cross the back line to be removed from play. And so now Fleming just wants to get rid of that guard, and that makes a lot of sense. This is Fleming's second, and this is Kevin Maloney. He's been curling for 9 years, has appearances at the USA Curling 5 and Under Nationals, 2020 and 2019. I think that was a miss. Trying to double check, trying to check my bio sheet and all this other fun stuff. So I think that was a miss. And so now it looks like Akiyama wants to split the house here with the second shot from their second. Okay, with the line. Also, I just want to think it's like if you do a gentle weight takeout, it's probably a little easier for you to dial your weight back if you need to do a draw, which is what Team Akiyama is trying to do right here. This is shaping to be more of a guard. I thought they were trying to split the rings a little bit. But it gives something else for Team Fleming to think about, although it looks like Fleming wants to do that takeout again, peel the guard, pardon me. So it looks like the peel is pretty close to being on target, and mission accomplished. The guard stone rolls through, and the shooter rolls to the side, harmlessly out of the way. And so now Akiyama does want to draw. This could have been part of Akiyama's plan all along, to put up a corner guard and then to draw around the guard. This is the third for Team Akiyama. This is Mikhail Simon. He's been curling for almost 5 years now. Started in June 2018. He was the skip at the 2022 Coyotes 5 and under as a D-list winner or D bracket winner. Was a vice at a team in the 22 Rocky Mountain Curling Invitational in Denver. So now Fleming is going to go after that shot stone. Akiyama does have two in the house. It looks pretty good for them this morning. Shots underway from the third for Fleming. That would be Jason Halleck. Got one. It's gonna. Ooh, it sails past the shot rock and unfortunately jams on the yellow in the back. So that was going to be a miss for Fleming and Halleck there. Because now Akiyama is sitting 3, and they're in a prime position to definitely get multiple points in this opening end. This, a lot of teams kind of play a little conservatively to start a game, but it looks like both teams are kind of at it right away as Akiyama draws up the shot for Simon. And definitely, it looks like they're drawing again, kind of, I think, splitting the rings. I think they would probably want to put the rock in the top of the house, kind of parallel to the shooter stone. Actually, this is going to go back a little bit. Naturally, just a little bit too much polish on it, as it were, or polish. The rock goes out of play. So that's an unfortunate miss for Simon. But they're still sitting 3, and they're definitely really making Fleming think about it here. And they're thinking about it, but not too long. As they just dial up a hit real quick. This is going to be the first rock for the skip. Pretty certain. Yes, Wayne Fleming. He's been curling for 14 years. He made an appearance at the 2013 Arena Nationals. That's back before. I say back before. I think that may have been before Coyotes was on dedicated ice. He was also at the MoPac Club Playdowns in 2021, and also a 7-year streak of appearances from 2012 to 2019. Also part of the 2020, the MoPac 25 and under, the inaugural event that we had just last fall. Let's see if he's got it here. Around the guard, didn't want to roll. They got a bit of a roll anyway. And it rolls to the wings, but they got rid of the shot stone, and it's a pretty wide open house. So even though Akiyama had 3 rocks in the house, it does kind of open things up for Fleming, and I think Fleming has a chance to get out of this end without giving up too many points, which is what you want a top team to do. And Fleming is one of the top teams in our league, in our association. So Akiyama has the shot dialed up pretty quickly. And so this is going to be Akiyama's first. Sota Akiyama has been curling since May 2012. He's been to competitive curling events, including the 2012 Hokkaido Junior Curling Championship in Japan. He was 5th place as a skip. And to get there, they had to pass 2 qualification events to make it to the main event. Akiyama's talking it over with his front end. I think just to see if they had the weight dialed in. And this is Akiyama's first. looks really, really good. Waits, Waits starting to get to the top of the house, kind of a biter there. Um, and actually, I think that was a good response by Akiyama because, as I mentioned in the last shot, the house is pretty wide open, even though there's three now four stones in, but those stones are all around the 12 foot. Um, and there's not really a solid place for Fleming to put another stone. They could draw to the button, but if Akiyama were to take out that Fleming stone, Akiyama could be getting three or four. Looks like they're kind of maybe looking at a hit and roll there, just kind of based on where they had the broom. Um, and I think that might be a decent call. I'm always kind of the inclination to just kind of stick around somehow and like behind, with some backing, and so I would maybe think to freeze to that stone, because if you successfully corner freeze, it'd be really hard to get rid of the yellow stone that's hopefully sitting shot. Um, but people have told me that's not necessarily the best strategy, and I'm coming around on that thought. It's just I always like having protection. This is Fleming's last here in the first end without the hammer. And let's see if the hit and roll is dialed up here. The sweepers are on it. Looks like it's over curling, but it looks like they did get rid of one of the blue stones as the shooter rolls out. So not a bad outcome. One of the one of the one of the things that's kind of tripped up teams on this sheet, that since I've been watching last night, is that stones going away. So the kind of the side of the ice that they're playing, when you go to the wings, it really curls hard as it goes to the wings. And so I think perhaps Fleming was tripped up by that situation. And so now Akiyama has a draw for three, and just a really good start for this team from the Bay Area Curling Club. Akiyama was also at the 2013 Hokkaido Junior Curling Championship. He was third as Skip. Lots of Japanese events on his resume, and he's wearing what appears to be a Japanese team jacket. I don't know if it's the Japanese, so like how the Japanese use the Arabic alphabet is pretty distinctive. And his shots away, just a draw for three, not too tricky. There is that center stone. All they need to do is get around that center stone and just be full 12 foot, and they have three ender to get things started. And so slow it down just a smidge, but there's enough there to get to the 8 foot, and that looks like a pretty solid three to start things out. So Akiyama jumps out to a 3-0 lead over Team Fleming to start this first game of a quadruple header today from the Bay Area Curling Club. They're going to take a minute break. We'll be right back to the feature action in just a moment. But before we do, let's take a quick look around the rings. When we have pauses in the action or end breaks, I will definitely do my best to kind of go to this type of view so we can kind of see how the other games are going. And it looks like Sheet A has finished their first end. We'll have scores posted to bondspieler.com. No scores as of yet. Sheet 2, obviously, our feature game is in the end break. Sheet 3 has finished their first end. Looks like all the games have finished their first end and are in progress to their second. So we will update the scores as they come in. Scores are being posted live to bondspieler.com. That's bondspieler.com. It's a party for line scores. So here we are with the second end here. that rock. They went right into the house. It's a pretty aggressive start. I think also kind of challenging Fleming to kind of go right into the house, and that is what they're doing with Brian Ogden's first there. Definitely appreciate the shout out in the comments. I know someone's noting that we have just a handful of viewers for this first game, which is not uncommon for the start of like a morning draw, especially. And then it looks like a little bit wide, and it misses the shot stone. And so now Akiyama wants to kind of secure, kind of put that rock in the house and put it in the bank, as it were. So he's calling for now for a center guard, kind of following the curling strategy for if you don't have the hammer to control the front half of the house as well as the kind of the center part in front of the house. So he kind of he accomplished the first part by going to the house with a center stone and looking to put up a center guard here to again further bolster his barrier. Which is a phrase I've not used, but I might use it more. And I will say that guard is over the line, over the hog line, just barely. So that is it's a high center guard, probably only half covering, less than half covering the shot stone. And so looks like Fleming wants Onken to try again. That's a little wide again, just from that view. We'll see how it works out here. So it was wide. It looks like a heavy draw, and it is going to go through the house again. So unfortunately, 2 flashes to start off this end by Team Fleming. And just to update the scoreboard, it is Team Fleming with a hammer, and Team Akiyama did get the 3-ender to start the game off. So here is the net shot coming from the second for Akiyama. So they're trying the draw as well, and that I was going to say it looks wide, but Akiyama gave the second plenty of room, and I think that's what was delivered. Looks like the weight is pretty good to get to the top of the house. That's actually slowing down a smidge, so it's going to be more of a mid guard. I like it. It's in the 3 zone. So people who are not super familiar with curling, there is a system where the playing area is divided into tenths, and the area in front of the house is divided into thirds. So like kind of if it's near the hog line, it's a 1 guard. If it's closer to the house, it's a 3 guard. And then the T line, and then it goes through the house 4, 5, 6, 7, up. And so the T through 10. Okay, so they were able to tick the guard. So the guard does its job. So with the zones, you might hear people call out numbers during a game, and so they could be calling times, which is not uncommon, but a lot of times they're often calling out the number of the zone where they think the shot is going to end up. And so if they think it's going to be on the button, it would be a 7. If they think it's going to be top of the house, it's closer to 4, and if it's in the back of the house, it's a 10. So. I definitely appreciate the viewers here. This is a MoPac morning session. During one of the tournaments last year, I kind of joked we had some MoPac after dark, and this is MoPac mornings. And I'm glad you guys are here. Hope you guys got a stiff pot of coffee, watching wherever you guys are, perhaps at work, perhaps at school, on the train. And it looks like made some contacts. There was a possible double there, but just made some contact and kind of kind of bumped the stones around, as it were. So now Akiyama is still sitting in the 2. and now they're kind of spread out. They are behind the tee line, so that kind of helps Fleming because there's places to draw to and out count the blue stones. This is Mikhail Simon's, pardon me, first shot. His first shot, and looks like they want to put up a guard again. Mikhail's been curling a decent amount. Some of the other events he was at was the 2022 Tahoe Epic mixed doubles event. He also went to Iceland last year. He was a skip for a team at the Ice Cup, which I'm sure sounds like a heated event, as it were. And so looks like he drew in, not quite a freeze, and so I think Fleming wants to throw a bomb at this, asking Jason Halleck to throw some heat. And let's see if it's on target. Sweepers are just cleaning for the most part. It's not coming back as much as I think they wanted. It chips one out, but it jams in the back. So it does get rid of one of the three Akiyama stones, but it doesn't change things up too much. Akiyama was sitting 3, now they're sitting 2. Fleming lost the shooter. The shooter rolled out. So it's still Akiyama sitting 2 in this second end without hammer. This is Simon's second here. And so I think they would want to put the guard back up or to try and draw in. Like a freeze is not a bad outcome, but if you can't freeze, you want to probably have some separation so the double's not there. And among the teams in this field of a competition that can do doubles, I would definitely put Fleming towards the top of the list of teams that can make doubles. And so Fleming, that guard is there, and so not seeing an easy path to the button, Fleming has asked Hallett to just kind of clear these guards out. And there's a double there to clear out those guards. So we got one. The shooter rolls to the side, and then the blue stone rolls through the house and out of play. So partially successful. It definitely kind of opens up the right side of the house here. So then Fleming has a chance to, I think, kind of to get out of this end. I don't think the chance of getting multiple points is on the table now. I think they're kind of looking to just minimize the damage, take a 1 point, and keep going. Because the way the roster position, I don't think they can get rid of both stones, especially with Fleming only has 2 stones left, and Akiyama's going to try and close that door. I think they're looking for, I would think, to kind of come to a top of the house or a tight guard. They don't want to come too far into the house, because if they come too far into the house, then it basically gives Fleming a chance to do a double takeout and kind of open up the center of the button. So someone was saying that on the comments, most of the viewers are getting their Bloody Marys. I think in Canada it's the other tomato-based beverage that I've forgotten the name of. I'm blanking. But yes, once people have their beverages, a cup of coffee, maybe Irish it up a little bit. Now we're ready for some curling action. And it looks like they did put up that guard. Looks like a pretty high guard, which is not too bad. Although when you look at it from this face-on angle, there is a port. Looks to be, from this view, it looks to be maybe about 1.5 stones. Kind of see it from this top view here. I think they can get to that shot stone. Caesars, thanks Dan from online. We do have a chat going on our YouTube channel on this video, so it's great to see people chiming in, and not many spammers. I say hopefully. I had a Caesar once. They are definitely a fun experience. Distinctly Canadian. And speaking of distinctly Canadian, really quickly, some people were talking last night about the team uniforms by Team Fleming. And these are apparently inspired by Don Cherry, the flamboyant sports commentator, formerly of Hockey Night in Canada, and definitely known for his sartorial choices. Hey, so they didn't make it through the ports, but they were able to clear those guards. So that was a double, and now Akiyama is probably going to do a very similar shot. Um, and in this case, I think they would want to come closer into the house. They don't want to come. They just probably want 10 in the 12 foot. They don't want. They want to be top of the house. I think third shots, because there's not really a way that Fleming could do a double and score. So it's basically kind of narrowing the scoring area so that Fleming only really has a shot for one, or possibly just giving up a point. So someone in the chat has decided to take it as a challenge that there aren't any spammers so far in our chat. So we'll keep an eye on that. So this is Sota Akiyama's last shot here in the second end without hammer. Just looking for a guard or a tight to the house shot. They don't want to go in the house or too far in the house. So let's see what they have dialed up. Sweepers are just keeping an eye on it. I think they're happy with they're definitely making sure that the line is the most important part here. It looks pretty good. I think that's kind of exactly where they were looking for and where I thought they could go. Um, they did, it looks like the shot stone is open. That's kind of where Halleck has the broom for Wayne Fleming. And they basically want to nose hit for one. So they definitely want to put on a little pepper, as it were, to make sure that it's a nose hit, control the line. The potential risk here is missing wide and then rolling out. And if they were missing a little bit narrow, they could wreck on that that rock that was just put in the 12 foot. So it's probably a straightforward shot for a team like Fleming, but there are some potential misses here as Fleming gets ready to deliver his hammer here in the second. It's like a nice release there. Supers are trying to hold the line. I think it's going on them. It's really close. It looks like it's going to wick on that 12-foot stone that was just put up by Akiyama. Yellow, the shooter rolls away, and the blue that was touched upon stuck around. So an unfortunate steal of three. Well, an unfortunate steal for Fleming. Akiyama, good job. You took three. But Akiyama with kind of a thief right now. He took three here from Fleming here in the second end. We're going to go to the third. Team Akiyama jumping out to an early lead, 6-0 over Team Fleming. We'll be back to the main action in just a moment, but let's go around the rings to see how the other games are going. So the scoreboards are not fully up to date on all the sheets. We have live views from all the houses. The scoreboards sometimes don't update as quickly as we would like. Although I say that on sheet one, that would kind of fool me. Men's pool B play, it was a blank, so that's why there's no score on sheet one. Team Barajas from San Francisco had the hammer. They carry it to the second after the blank against Team LeClaire from Coyotes. Sheet D is a men's D pool game. Akiyama again. Got three with a hammer in the first, stole three in the second. It's a 6-0 lead over Fleming from Coyotes. Sheet 3, men's A pool game. Siggins had the hammer to start and was forced to one. Siggins is from Coyotes, taking on Team Mendoza from Hollywood. It's 1-0 Siggins. On sheet 4, men's D pool play. McBride stole 4, McBride from Hollywood, over Team Lazarewicz from Silicon Valley. So in the second end, it was 4-0 McBride. And on sheet 5, men's C pool, Baxter from San Francisco stole 3 from Horseman from Coyotes, and it was 3-0 heading into the second end. So that keeps you up to date on the scores. Kind of getting back to our main action here. Looks like Akiyama is keeping up that aggressive play, and just definitely kind of challenging Fleming to respond. So Akiyama drew in, and Fleming is going to try and hit that out with Onken's first. And again, all the scores are available on bondspieler.com. Bondspieler.com is your source for live scores, powered by the San Francisco Bay Area Curling Company. They do appreciate donations to help keep the platform going. And looks like mission accomplished there. And now they're going to be kind of trading hits back and forth for a while until the complexion of the game changes. So here's the next rock coming from Akiyama. So it needs to curl up. This is hanging out here, but I think it's going to come back in time. It does get the shooter out. I mean, it's the shot stone out, but they lost the shooter. So we have a totally blank house for Fleming to kind of start calling, to start setting up hopefully an end that would end in his favor. So they're calling for a corner guard. I think they're not anticipating a lot of curl from based on the broom that Fleming gave Onken. And so they're definitely looking for I think a tight corner guard here to hide stones behind later. And it looks like it's going a little. I mean, they want it tight, so it looks really close. And it is a guard. It's tight to the house. This would be a. It's a guard, but it's kind of in the 4 zone. The 4 is the top of the house in the 12-foot, so it looks like it's a 4. It's still a guard, and Fleming can make use of it later in the round. Oh man, I forgot. Have a bit of a runny nose, so I turned the microphone on mute for a moment and forgot to turn it back on. So uh, I said this a moment ago, and it's going to sound, it probably sounded more brilliant a minute ago than it did now, but basically I was curious about why Fleming was going to the other side of the house instead of behind the corner guard, and I was thinking that he was kind of challenging Akiyama to hit his stone out, his shot stone out, and if Akiyama missed, then he would draw around the corner guard, and that is exactly what happened as they Fleming has gone behind the corner and looks really well buried, and also it's not shot, so Akiyama is going to want to try and make a play on the shot stone in the 4 foot there, and I think they're hoping to maybe get a little bit of a roll. I don't think the double's there. I think it's a little too tight of an angle for the double. And thank you to the people in the comments for letting me know when there's issues with the sound or anything, because I don't always get a lot of feedback. So, all right, so did get the roll, and I can see what they were trying to do. I think it was a good idea, but it rolls through the house. They lost a shooter. So now Fleming is going to split the range now for realsies this time, because they're sitting one in the house. So they're going to draw to the other side, and I think it's looking really good for a multiple point end here for Fleming to get on the board. Some of the other elements here at play at this event. This is an event that leads to a berth at the Nationals, and so we are playing with competitive rules. That means you can see the clock in the background. Teams are given a certain amount of time to finish your game. If they don't finish in time, I would have to double check, but often you lose. And each team is given a 1 90-second timeout during regulation. This is fascinating here on the part of Akiyama. I think they want to take it out, and that in of itself is not a bad idea. It's just my thinking is that that's not shot stone, and I would almost want to almost freeze against the shot stone on the right side of this angle, but we'll see how it unfolds here. Also, you can see with Akiyama's broom here, we are using competitive brush pads. The brush pads are kind of that fun burnt orange color, as it were. And the fabric is kind of not super effective, so it's geared to kind of showcase that the skill of the sweepers as opposed to the skill of the brush or the quality of the brush cover. So that's one of the elements. Trying to think of some of the other key elements. Mentioned the no-tick rule. So Akiyama does get rid of the second Fleming stone. Fleming is still shot, as you can see from this overhead. And I think, just based on the broom that Halleck has, I think Fleming wants to draw down toward the blue stone, make sure that they're definitely sitting two, and then kind of forces Akiyama to think about how he wants to get out of the end. I mean, there could be a double setup, or they might want to try and draw down to the shot stone on the 8-foot area. So this is Fleming's first. Fleming was at the Pacific Cup International in Richmond, British Columbia, also known as the PIC. It's a pretty prestigious event, and it's always an honor to be invited. I've never been invited, but I hope to one of these years. He was at the PIC in 2019, 16, and 15. His shot here. This is just a little bit heavy, so now that kind of changes, turns the tables, or tables the turns, as it were, for Akiyama. Akiyama could draw down and kind of chip out that yellow from Fleming in the top half of the screen here. If he chips out that yellow and is sitting two, then all Fleming has really is a draw to the center of the house for one. It would be a force. Fleming would get on the board, but all Akiyama is doing is just giving up one. So I think that would be an ideal. They're looking at perhaps doing a hit and roll there, just kind of based on that. uh, they're looking at this bottom half of the screen, looking on the left side of the sheet. They considered it, but they went back to the other side. I would tend to agree, just because I don't really see what moving to the left side of the sheet would have accomplished. So let's say they're going to do a more upweight hit than I was thinking. I really didn't. Well, I think they want to see a decent amount of roll, which is I think why they're putting the broom where they are, and I think the weight they're calling it sounded like they want control, which is a weight that is it's a decent amount of up weight, but it's not. It's still. I'm trying to describe a control weight shot. It's still at a speed where the sweepers can control the broom, and they switched it. I'm curious about what they're doing. They have the broom by that third stone. I'm very curious about why they chose to do it that way. We'll have to see what happens here. This is the last stone coming from Akiyama without the hammer in the third end. So they had to make sure that it stays on line. Looks like it's curling. And it looks like they did an okay job here. But so this is why I didn't like that shot, because now Fleming is still sitting one, and they have a draw for two. Um, I wonder perhaps that they were worried if they missed that they could potentially give up three. That might have been the thinking, because if they missed on the left side, then all Fleming needed to do is probably take out that blue on the left and set three. So I think just getting rid of one of the yellow counters was the thinking, and giving up two is not bad here. Definitely gives Fleming a deuce and a chance to start getting back into this game. So this is the hammer now from Wayne Fleming. Sweepers are off it. They just need to touch the 8-foot ring to get two. It looks pretty good. Sweepers are not on it at all. It's a smidge deep, but it's going to slow in time to hit the back 8 there, and that is good for two. So after three in the third end, my apologies. After the third end, it is now Akiyama's turn with a hammer as they lead 6-2 over Team Fleming. We'll be back in just a moment when we return to the 2023 MoPac Men's and Women's Club Playdowns from San Francisco Bay Area Curling. Live streaming of this and other regional competitions is powered by the 18 clubs and 1,500 members of the Mountain Pacific Curling Association. Our mission serves to grow curling and foster competition in Arizona, California, Idaho, Nevada, Oregon, and Utah. Visit mopacca.org today to find a curling club near you or for help getting one started in your community. We are back here at the 2023 MoPac Men's and Women's Club Playdowns. It's so fun to say dozens and dozens of times. This is your host, Ryan, with you. Turning out to be a pretty interesting game so far from Team Akiyama and Team Fleming. Akiyama jumped out to a 6-2 lead. Fleming clawed back with a deuce in the third, and we are here in the fourth. That's right. As part of the competition, we're playing 8-end games. So after this fourth end, we will be taking a 5-minute break. so the teams can kind of pause, reflect, have a snack box, maybe a juice box, before resuming their game. So Akiyama continuing the aggressive play without, especially with the hammer, they're going into the house and kind of letting or offering Fleming a chance to hit and roll here. I think that's what they want to try and do. It is behind the tee line, so if they do roll, they would be rolling, toward the back of the house, and which may not be as strategically desirable as possible. This stone looks like it is carrying though, and it's going to over curl, I think, a bit here. It just only kisses the blue stone, and actually ends up moving that blue stone behind cover about 40% buried, or 40% exposed. So it looks like Akiyama's thinking about either splitting the reins or drawing behind the center guard and opting to split the reins here. Looking for the draw. Now this is the side of the ice where it can over curl. So it's going to be interesting to watch the line of the stone as it travels, because it's going, and I think it could be a center guard. I mean a corner guard, and that is what is set up, a corner guard. It curled about just over 3 feet, it appears, and so now Fleming wants to, I think, draw under the center guard, and they have a little bit of backing with that blue stone in the back of the house. So the weight, I think, was pretty good for the Fleming. They weren't sweeping on it until late, but it didn't curl up as much as I thought. It ends up pretty open, just biting the top button there. And so now Akiyama wants to hit and roll, definitely taking advantage of that cover. So we've seen stones kind of going clockwise and counterclockwise, and so we're going to see a counterclockwise, and I think they had the broom in the right place because it's probably not going to curl as much going counterclockwise or outturn as opposed to the clockwise rotation. So let's see what they have cooking here. So it may have curled maybe a little bit more than I thought it was going to. It does get rid of the yellow. The shooter rolls to the wings and is going to roll out of the house. So while they set up this next shot, let's go around the rings and kind of see how the other games are doing in progress. Scores are on bonspieler.com. So after 3 on sheet 1, it's all Leclerc so far. 3-0 over Barajas. Sheet 2 is our feature game. 6-2 Akiyama. Sheet 3, it's all Siggins from Coyotes. 6-0 over Mendoza from Hollywood. On sheet 4, McBride added a triple to their 4 spot from the first end, and is now 7-1 over Team Lazarewicz. And then on sheet 5, it's all Baxter from the Bay Area, 6-0 over Horseman from Coyotes. So again, all those scores are on bonspieler.com, your source for local scores. Well, we are local here, but live scores, bonspieler.com. So back here to our feature sheets here. It looks like they wanted to do the takeout here. Do make contact on the shot stone and are themselves shots. So now Akiyama is sitting 2, but both of those rocks are behind the tee line, and so it provides some backing for Fleming's Wayne Halleck here with his first. Jason Halleck, my apologies. There's a lot of names to learn over the course of this weekend. I will do my best to make sure I get them as correct as possible. If I misspeak, I definitely apologize. I want to make sure we're doing our best to present all of these teams to help showcase curling throughout our region. And as part of that, this is super exciting. We have 18 men's teams and 8 women's teams taking part in this playdown. So there's going to be a lot of curling action from a lot of teams, and that's especially going to happen on our feature sheet because each of these, we're going to be able to feature 18 different teams during pool play. We're not going to be able to feature all 26 teams during the tournament, but we're definitely trying to get to as many as possible because it's really great to see curling kind of blossom throughout the Mountain and Pacific region, because that's why we're here. So looks like Simon wanted to get rid of the Yellowstone and was able to roll it to the side. Now, based on the situation, looking above the rings, Akiyama is sitting 2 with the hammer, and Fleming has third shots. So this is Halleck's last here without hammer in the 4th end. We got Onken sweeping. I think it's going to wreck on the guard. And it does wreck on the guard. It does promote the guard, but not into the house. This is an interesting situation for Akiyama. They're sitting 2 right now. Oh, it's a pretty secure. I say it's a secure 2. It's in the back of the house, so there's still, Fleming can still get in front of that. But I'm curious about if they put a stone in the top 12 foot, that would kind of cut down the draw path and make it harder for Fleming to get into the house. Here they've opted to clear the guard. Ooh, some bad pinball action as it were, but not ultimately a bad outcome. So they clear the front of the house, but the Yellowstone that got moved jammed on the blue in the house and kind of rolled to the side. It looks like, but then the Yellowstone rolled out of the house. So it's still Akiyama sitting 2, but Fleming has 3 and 4, and there's a double setup now. So I didn't think clearing the center was the best move here, especially because now there's that double possibility for Wayne Fleming. This is Wayne Fleming's first. And let's see if he's got a double. Supers are trying to hold it, it looks like. Got 1, got 2, that is a double. And so now the end has turned. The turns have tabled, as it were. Now it's Fleming sitting 3, and Akiyama is, I think it'll be hard pressed to get. I think it's still possible to get 2 out of this, but I think the force is on. It looks like okay. So there's that high corner guard on the right side that I wasn't really noticing, but I think Akiyama wants to bring it into play. So it looks like, based on how Simon positioned the broom, it looks like they want to draw around that. So I think it's still possible for Akiyama to get a deuce, but he's going to have to work for it. Here we go. This is Akiyama's first of 2 with a hammer. So it looks like the line is pretty good. So probably curl up it just a little bit more. So it is sitting shot in the back of the house. However, from this overhead view, and then we switch back to the head-on view, it is pretty open. So if Fleming just gets rid of that blue, Fleming would be sitting 4 and really forcing Akiyama to just draw for 1. However, the upside, the positive for Akiyama is that even though they would be facing 4, the center of the house is wide open from both sides, and Akiyama just threw it and draw. So it'd be fairly easy for Akiyama to just hopefully draw again for that single point. And that's a pretty common curling strategy for a skip, is to try to make sure that you keep the house open enough so that you have a chance for a draw for your last shot, for at least 1 and hopefully for more. So Fleming's going to hopefully do a takeout here. Looks like a nice smooth release. That release was as smooth as their uniforms are allowed. Sweepers are on it. And definitely mission accomplished for Team Fleming. They are sitting 4. 3 of them were in the back of the house, as I said. So now Akiyama just has a pretty wide open house to just draw for 1. I think they are going to try and use that Fleming stone that was just put into the house, kind of the 5 o'clock shot in the 8-foot, as a bit of backing. So I'm going to guess it's going to be a bit of a heavy draw. Had to be careful that they don't miss, obviously. So let us see what Sota Akiyama has dialed up here. His last shot here in the 4th end. Shots under the way. That looks like that was another nice delivery by the skip. Supers are on it. So it needs to basically be close to touching the 4-foot. It's really close. They need to really sweep. It needs to get there, guys. Come on, hard. And oh my goodness gracious. Akiyama may have pulled the string a little bit there. Ends up being short. And so Fleming steals 2 to come within 2 after 4 ends. We enter the half. We're at the midway point with the score. Team Akiyama 6, Team Fleming 4. We're going to go around the rings, and then we're going to take a break when we come right back to the 2023 men's and women's club playdowns. So going around the rings real quick, these are the games in play. Looks like most of the games are at their 4th end break. 1 game in action on sheet 4. Lots of stones in play. Team Lazarowicz is seeing shots, being the yellow team. So just to recap really quickly here, on sheet 1, Team Leclerc playing with the Yellowstones is up 4-0 over Barajas. Sheet 2 is our feature game, 6-4 Akiyama at the break. On sheet 3, it's still all Siggins, 8-0 over Team Mendoza. Siggins is playing with the Yellow Rocks. Sheet 4, McBride is playing with the Red Rocks. They're up 7-1 over Lazarowicz, although Lazarowicz is in a position to score after 3. And then on sheet sheet 5 at the break, it was Baxter with the Bluestones up 6-1 over Team Horseman for Coyotes with the Yellowstones. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back when we come back. I'll see you in a moment, guys. Okay, welcome back to the 2023 MoPac Men's and Women's Club Playdowns. We're in a bit of a technical timeout here on sheet 2. As you can see, there's a bit of an extended timeout as there's apparently a technical issue. Let me see if I can get a better view of what may be going on. And yes, we have that right here. It looks like there's a bit of an issue with the hack. And so you guys know the drill, the dumb thumb, as they are using the drill on the ice. And actually, there's a curling club in Upper Michigan called the Drill House, which was an old mining company building that they used to actually like make the drills used in mining. So we got a bit of a drill house here tonight, as the ice official works to I think repair the hack installation. It sounded like there may have been may have been a little loose by the people delivering on the right side of the hack, which is used for, well, they're using both sides of the hack. So it looks like he's got that set up, doing some more play-by-play of this technical timeout here. So I think that, I mean, the clock says the break is going to go for another 2.5 minutes, but I think they paused the break as soon as they knew that it was going to be an issue. I would guess that they would resume the game as quickly as this issue is resolved, perhaps maybe a minute or so. So you can also see that there's not a lot of space behind the hack on the away side of the sheet. This is this San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club is a great facility. It is a very tight facility in terms of the space. But it looks like we are going to get the game going again here in the fifth end, pardon me, after that technical timeout. So this is the first rock coming from Brian Onken. This broadcast is presented by authority of the Mountain Pacific Curling Association and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the Mountain Pacific Curling Association. However, we may give consent if you choose to reproduce this broadcast in Shakespearean prose. Sonnets would do, kind of, or if you want to do like a Hamiltonian type take on this curling game, please do. We will consider allowing a retransmission in that form. So. So the first stone coming from Jason Nee, the lead for Akiyama.
Looking for the samples.
So this is Onken's second stone coming now. Looks like they want to either put up another center guard or draw behind the center guard that was already put in place. Say needs to curl. In the comments, we also do allow interpretive dance reproductions of the broadcast, so that's also a possibility. Akiyama is sweeping the heck out of the stone and is going to get it. Oh, so close to going out. It is right on that line. It might be biting. It's really hard to tell from this angle. But it looks like Akiyama wants to have a knee draw around. So it looks pretty good. Sweepers are on it. It might be maybe a little light. And also got to be careful about it over curling. And it looks like it's going to be close. So they say they're by. Ooh, and it just whips off of the guard and rolls into the house. So that was super close. And it does offer a tasty target for Fleming to go after. Um, and this is going to be Kevin Maloney coming out of the hack. Kevin's been curling for 9 years. Was at the 500 Nationals in 2020, 2019. Looks like this is going to crash on the blue guard on the left side there. It's going to roll over the house and out of play. So oh, yes, that's a very good point. You saw them put the blue guard back, and that's because that was the last rock in the 5 rock rule. So that was an unfortunate miss by Mr. Maloney. And so now Akiyama has a chance to. I'm trying to think about what he would want to do here. He set up for a draw. He could be trying to guard, or he could be. I think he might want to try and promote the blue stone that's in the top 12 foot. Sweepers are off it now. Looks like it's a little wide, perhaps. Although it is going to, I think, hit the blue. Sweepers are on it. It is going to make contact with the blue, and it's going to tap that blue under cover. Beyond the cover, it's now exposed in the back of the house. But it was a pretty decent raise. So Fleming could go after the shot stone, but it's in the back of the house. It might not help him. It could also kind of lead to a bit of a traffic jam in the house. It looks like he's just going to go after the top, the blue in the top 12 foot. And this is Maloney's last shot here. It does get the 12 out of the reins, and the shooter is going to roll to the 12 foot and out of. Ooh. We're dancing on the line here. We're doing some line dancing. This end here by Team Fleming, as that shooter looks like it may have rolled out, but it also looks like it could be nibbling the 12 foot there. So Akiyama's sitting shot, but Fleming has potentially 2 on the wings. We'll have to see how the end develops. So Akiyama is looking to draw around the Fleming center guard. This is the second Kevin Jorgensen, who's been curling since 2018. Kevin was at the 2022 Bay Area Curling Club Turkey Spiel as a device on the winning team. So looks like they gobbled up wins. Bunch. I need like a drum kit in this in this studio here that we're broadcasting from. So the draw looks pretty good. Needs to sit down. Just a bit heavy. It carries through the center of the house to the back 12. So Akiyama's sitting 2, but they are behind the tee line back to the house. And if you look at this head-on view, it is another tasty target for Team Fleming, and they are going to go for it. They made a double. They made a double last, and I believe that really worked out for them. And it looks like the double could be here again. So actually, it looks like it's going to wreck, and it's going to. I don't know if. Yeah, I think. Well, the shooter rolled out and took care of one of the Fleming yellows. And so now Akiyama, I think, is going to try and split the house for Mikael Simon's first here. Mikael Simon being the third for Akiyama. Some of the other events he was at Evergreen Curling in 2022 at the 5 and under as a vice, at a Silicon Valley 5 and under. So it looks like they pulled the string a little bit on that shot, came up light, and ends up as a staggered corner guard, which doesn't help them as much, especially since that double is still there for Jason Hallett to go after. Jason Hallett was at the 2019 MoPac 5 and Under and ended up as a champion. And after all that talk about line dancing, Jason Hallett cleared the dance card with a double as he removed he moved both of the Akiyama stones out of the house. One is sticking around in the back 12 foot, the back line, but not touching the house. And then the other yellow kind of rolled to the wing. So it's a wide open house now, and I think Akiyama is going after that corner guard, or going to go behind that corner guard. So it looks like it's around. Simon is urging them on, and it's around that corner, really good. And I think that's a really great shot, and it's going to be hard for Fleming to get at, just because it's that side of the ice where if you go wide, it falls toward the wings. So I don't like Fleming's not looking at going. Well, I think they're looking to draw in. They're not looking to make a play on that shot stone. And it makes sense because they just saw Team Akiyama make that shot, so I think they're just kind of going to kind of follow them down, take advantage of that corner stone that Akiyama put up for them. So this is going to be Fleming's first. Without the hammer here in the fifth end. Sweepers aren't on it, so they're jumping on it. Looks like they're pretty happy with the weight, and it looks like it's going to carry a little bit, but it's going to stick around 4 shots by about 2 inches. So Akiyama could basically follow them down, tap that yellow back, and potentially be sitting 2, which is kind of what they're looking at doing. And I think that makes sense. I'm trying to think about if there's another way to manufacture a deuce in this end. And I think that might be the easiest way to do it because you have those corner guards. You're sitting second shot right now. You're making a play on shot stone, and then perhaps definitely setting yourself up for an opportunity to score 2 here in this end. So this is Sota Akiyama's first shot. Sweepers are on. I think it needs to curl a bit. So the weight's pretty good. I just needs to get over. Needs to go over a little bit more. Needs to go over a little bit more. Okay, so it did accomplish the mission of pushing that yellow to the second shot position, but they lost the shooter. So now, basically, Fleming can do a similar type shot. That's kind of what they're lining up. Maybe be a little bit more, a little tighter to the corner guards because that was a pretty open path for Akiyama to get to. So let's see here. Looks like they're dialing up a draw again. And I think they would like to kind of end up, just kind of based on where the rocks are, end up around the tee line. If they're top 8, that's fine. Just basically make it really, really hard for Akiyama to get to. Here we go. Nice draw release there. Sweepers are on it. Worried about the line. It looks like it's going to be really, really close. It's around the... Oh, it kissed the guard, but it's going to roll into the house. Going to be a shot, though. So, not a bad save, as it were. However, that yellow is open. So all Akiyama has to do is to, hit that out and stick around for two, and then kind of rebuild their lead that Fleming has been able to successfully dig into over the past couple ends. So Soto Akiyama, just some other information about his curling career. He's been bond spieling. He was at the 2014 Neoro curling tournament dedicated for the governor. Was first place among 20 teams as the skip. And let's see if he's got a skip shot in him with his final here. In end 5. Jason knees on it, needs to curl up, needs to curl. Because if it rolls out, it's not going to, oh my goodness. So it didn't curl up enough. The weight, I think, was good because you wanted to make sure the shooter stuck around. It just didn't curl up enough. And so it ends up with Fleming taking a steal, and they're now within 1 after 5 here at the 2023 MoPac men's and women's playdowns. We're going to be back to this featured game in just a moment. But first, let's go around the rings. Everyone's favorite shot. Let's go around the rings and see how these games in progress are going. It looks like a lot of teams are in their 6th ends, which makes sense because we started our 5th end a little late. Looks like we have a final in the books on sheet 3. Let's go to that really quickly. On sheet 3, it was a shutout pitched by Team Siggins from Coyotes, getting an A-pool win over Team Mendoza from Hollywood, 8-0. Recapping the rest of the action on sheet 1, B pool. It's still all Leclerc with the Yellow Rocks, 6-0 over Team Barajas. On sheet 4, D pool for men's, but not Deadpool, D pool. That's my unauthorized Marvel knockoff film. It's a tighter game. Lazarevich has managed to get 4 on the board, and so now it is Team McBride 7 with the Red Rocks from Hollywood over Lazarevich with 4. So 7-4 McBride, and then on sheet 5, C pool action. Horseman was able to get on the board with a single in the 4th, but Baxter answered with a deuce, and so now it is Baxter with 8 in the Blue Rocks over Horseman with Yellow Rocks and 1 point. So that brings you up to date on the scoring. Again, if you want to check out the scores, we are posting them on bondspieler.com. Bondspieler.com, like bonbons, minus the bond plus spieler.com. So let's get back to our feature game, and first rock is in play. We are underway as Brian Onken draws to the 8-foot. There we go. It looks like Akiyama is doing a more conventional strategy with a hammer here in the 6th end, calling for a corner guard from Jason Nee. That mission accomplished. Good corner guard from Nee. And it looks like Fleming would like to put up another center rock. I think center guard at this point would be good, or they could draw 2 on top of their yellow that's already in the house. That's pretty good. Actually needs to curl a little bit more. So I do think that's a miss actually, because I think they wanted to be closer to the center because now there's a situation where Akiyama could hit and roll, and I think that's what they have dialed up here. This is Jason Nee's second here. Got a Silicon Valley jacket on. We have some interesting and I think exciting design jackets in our region. Hollywood has kind of shown some great classy uniforms over the years. Coyotes has some good gear, and then sometimes they drop total surprises like this this sports jacket plaid that Team Fleming's got, which is not an official club jacket as far as I know, but maybe it could be one day. So next direct coming from Kevin Maloney. He was on the inaugural 25 and under championship team that was played last October at Coyotes. His first rock, that one was to curl up a little bit more than Hawkins did. It whips off of the corner guard and rolls towards the center. And so now all of the guard and tick rules are off. So Akiyama just wants to get rid of these guards in front of the house, and is asking his second, Kevin Jorgensen, to do so. Sorry about the buttons. Scoopers are on it. It looks like it's carrying a little bit more than they thought it was going to. Gets rid of one of the yellows. So this is the situation right now. Fleming is sitting one in the top 8 foot, and Akiyama would like to kind of clear out the center so they can get to it. Next rock coming from Maloney. Looks like it's going to wreck on the guard, perhaps. This is a little bit of a promotion, but now that shot rock is I would say about half open, and he's asking Kevin to go for it. Not Kevin. Yes, Kevin, to go for it. So here comes Kevin's last. So kissed it. Shot rock rolls out of the house, and the shooter rolls open to the left side of the sheets. And so now Fleming looks to be making a play on it. As we kind of discussed, and you probably hear my commentary takes similar beats. Hopefully it's not too repetitive, but you kind of, as the game progresses, you kind of look to see how you want to play ends. So in this case, it's the 6th end, and generally you would like to either control the even ends or reduce the number of ends in which your opposing team can score. And so in this case, Akiyama has a hammer in the even ends. All things being equal, he would probably like to keep having the hammer in the even ends, but there's a possibility of a blank here. He could deny a scoring opportunity to Fleming and just keep the hammer going to the next end, or he can still try and manufacture a deuce. And it looks like that's what he's trying to do. So it looks like he's asking Mikael Simon to draw around those guards and kind of be, I would think, the 4 foot on the right side. It does need to curl. This is kind of a tricky area just because sometimes it doesn't curl back as much as people would think. This one looks like it's got a good curl, but it needs to get there. It actually crashes on the yellow guard, so the line was probably maybe a little wide if he was on broom. And so now Fleming is sitting 1, and it looks like Fleming wants to draw around those center guards, coming at it from the counterclockwise outturn rotation. And for people who are not in the curling know, which is probably not, I think people on this broadcast are curling fans and athletes, but the outturn refers to kind of the orientation of your elbow when you release the stone. When you do an outturn, if you're a righty, counterclockwise, your elbow goes out. If you do a clockwise rotation, your elbow turns in, and that's an in turn. So Just some general curling knowledge I like to drop because they never ever talk about it during a curling broadcast on like NBC or stuff. So, although they do explain the rules of curling very well every game, so there's a balance, I'm sure. That shot from Halleck, I believe, really good. Puts in a second shot, and it is sitting shot stone behind a lot of cover. So this is Simon's second. It looks like it's over curling. So another miss. Looks like also looks like the line wasn't too bad. It was just the weights. Puts another center guard up when you don't need center guards. So Fleming is looking at the situation. They got two right now. And yes, Dion on the chat brought out the rotation, the turns are different when you're left-handed because clockwise would be the outturn and the in-turn would be counterclockwise, which is often why in top-level competition they say just clockwise and counterclockwise. We try to keep it as simple as possible, even though there's some curling terminology that's just kind of percolated and persisted through the years. This is Fleming's first year without the hammer in the sixth end. They're sitting two. They're in a good situation. They can basically kind of close off the draw path here on the right side with a counterclockwise out turn. And so they definitely want either a tight guard or just in the top 12 of the house. They don't want to go any deeper than that. It looks like it is going to go deeper. Actually, it's going to go to the back of the house. Kind of in a situation where Akiyama to do a hit and roll. I think they're they're lining it for a draw, actually. Looks like they just want to draw for the putt. I think they want to keep it simple. I was thinking there could be a double there. Do an in-off double. There's that stone on the right side. If you hit, you can't get to it from the inside, so there's not really a double there. So they're just going for a draw. So they're going for a draw, and Akiyama's seen the line. They just need to make sure they have the weight. The last two shots were kind of done in by a little bit lighter deliveries than were needed. And it looks like the weight is better for Akiyama's first. Settling down, they're going to try to draw to the back of the house and rest as shots after bumping Fleming's shot stone to the back 12. So looks like a good draw. However, it does allow Fleming to kind of just draw on top of them. And it looks like the force is going to be on here in the sixth end. So Fleming has Halleck set up for a draw here. Room down as Fleming gets into the hack. This is turned into a very interesting game. I think it was kind of a shock to see Akiyama jump out to a 6-0 lead. Whenever any team jumps out to a 6-0 lead, it's pretty shocking unless it's like Nicholas Edin playing a Thursday rec league team. But Fleming has kind of stayed cool and collected and climbed back into this game, and he's about to draw in and probably be sitting shot after this. Well, almost certainly sitting shot after this. Sweepers are just cleaning right now. It's squeaky, keeping the ice nice and shiny. And now they're doing a little bit more. Trying to make some contact on the blue stone. Pushes that blue back, and it looks like Fleming could be sitting up to 2 shots right now. It's hard to tell with this overhead view, but Fleming is definitely sitting shot, and basically Akiyama just wants to draw in. I don't blame him. I don't really see any way to get rid of both those yellows. So just a draw for one. Take a 2-point lead into the 7th end, which also could be a factor in the, like we were talking about, like the strategy about controlling the ends and stuff. So if you take a 2-point end, a 2-point lead, I think, and you try to hopefully maintain it, kind of force Fleming to get a deuce to get back into the game, or to equalize the game. I mean, Fleming's done a great job getting back into this game. Don't get me wrong. So this is the draw coming from Sota Akiyama. Let's see if the draw is there. It looks like it's hanging out a little wide, and it needs to curl up a little bit more, and it's not going to. It didn't even touch the yellow in the house. So this could be 2, and Fleming could be taking a lead here. So we'll see what happens. They kicked the stone, so they didn't need to measure. I will say that a measure has been recommended for some of these houses, because these houses are not, the circles are not exact. So the way these houses were installed, they're pre-printed patterns, and so they stretched one way. So the pins are accurate, and the circles are accurate in one axis, but they're a little stretched in the other axis. So if there's any sort of doubt, they were kind of urged to take a measure. But no measure necessary. Fleming scores. He steals 2 in the 6th to take a 7-6 lead here. Fleming's comeback is complete. Sota Akiyama is going to get back to work here in the 7th in just a moment when we come back. So looking around the rings really quickly, Sheet 1 has closed up shop for the game. Team Leclerc, Yellow Rocks, finished 6-1 over Barajas in B pool. Sheet 2 is our feature game, where Fleming stole 2 to take a 1-point lead over Akiyama. Sheet 3, Siggins pitched a shutout over Team Mendoza. Sheet 4, the only remaining game in action, Team McBride has a 7-4 lead over Lazarowicz. McBride playing with the Red Rocks. And then on Sheet 5, that was another early game. Team Baxter from San Francisco closed out Team Horseman 8-1. So again, all those scores are on bondspieler.com. Getting back to our feature game here. This is going to be the first rock coming from Brian Otkin. And just as a reminder, coming up at 12:30, we have our second game of our quadruple header of curling games tonight. The 12:30 game will feature more men's action with Team Meyer from San Francisco Bay Area Curling taking on Team Hernandez from Hollywood Curling. That's coming up at 12:30 here at our MoPac YouTube channel and from San Francisco Bay Area Curling. At 4:30, the afternoon game is Team Burns taking on Team Siggins. And then our nightcap at 8 features Team Pomeroy from the Utah Olympic Oval Curling Club facing off against Team Howells from Hollywood, which I will try to say 5 times fast during that game. Howells of Hollywood. So Akiyama, for the first time, is playing from behind in this game. Kind of looking at different shots here. Looking at the clock, so Akiyama has 4 less minutes of time than Fleming. Fleming's been playing a pretty speedy game. There's 2 ends left, so there still should be plenty of time, about 4.5 minutes for Akiyama, over 6.5 minutes, or just under 6.5 minutes for Fleming. So plenty of time for both teams in this game. And so this is Jason Nees first. I think they were looking at going around the center guard, but it's over curling here. Maybe. It's going to, so it did tick the center guard, and that is a no-no. As I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, the no-tick rule is in effect for this game, for this championship, because that is a new rule of competitive play at national and international competitions, where if you move an opponent's stone off the center line in the guard zone in the first 5 rocks, it gets the original stone gets replaced, and that's what happened here. So Onken now is going to draw. It looks like they're going to put up. It looks to be a center. It's going to slip into the house to the T line. So Akiyama wants to do a hit and roll.
No hockey players that forget their water balls just skating across the game during the middle of your game.
So this is the side of the ice that has been kind of tricking skips all week long. Although this time, yeah, I think it kind of tricked them this time, where it falls away and sometimes it doesn't come back enough. But in this case, it came back plenty. It came back too much and missed. So now Kevin Maloney has a draw set up. I think trying to draw around that center guard. So this might be a situation where it's not coming back as much as they thought. I would need to kind of see how both skips put the brooms and if both teams kind of came if both players came out towards the broom, because that I don't think curled nearly as much as they thought it should. So now Akiyama wants to do a hit and roll, maybe just some double action going. But at the very least, I think the hit and roll. And this is Kevin Jorgensen's first. So this is probably going to hit on the wrong side. Pretty close to a nose hit, and it just the blue sticks around for second shot. And it looks like Fleming wants to, make a play on that blue in the house. So another nose hit. So this is kind of why I was saying this side of the ice is kind of tricky going away, because sometimes it curls, sometimes it don't. And the past couple shots, for Fleming, I think that was a good shot for them, because the hit and roll would not help. I mean, hit and roll could help them, but they had a high risk of jamming. For Akiyama, it didn't curl up for them enough, and they don't necessarily want to jam, but the hit and roll is, I think, the most important thing. And here they're just trading back and forth hits. I just need like another 2 or 3 inches of curl there. So they're trading second shots, and so now Fleming is just content to trade hits back and forth. Also making it really hard for Akiyama to get a deuce out of this end, because all these rots are leaving the house. None of them are sticking around. So they asked for control, a control weight takeout. This looks like it's going to hit on the outside edge. My goodness. So that was a mistake, unfortunately. And so that was also kind of, again, like the ice. This side of the ice is very tricky. It's been tricking teams all weekend long. So now Fleming actually hit their stone, and both of their rots rolled out. And so now Akiyama is sitting 1, and Akiyama is asking Mikhail Simon to draw around the center guard. Simon's been a little light his past couple shots. Let's see if he's got that draw weight in his pocket right now. So looks like it didn't get there. So now Fleming has that takeout. That's coming from Jason Halleck. This is his last. So mission accomplished. However, the shooter rolls away. And so now, again, kind of getting back to the strategy of things. It looks like Akiyama wants to try and create a deuce here because you want to get get 2 or more so you can have a lead going home in the 8th and final end. However, if it's looking like you could blank this end, that would also be good for Akiyama because he would be down 1 going into the final end. If he gets a deuce, he wins. If he gets a single, he ties and forces an extra end. So that might be part of the thinking that's going through Sota Akiyama's head. This shot looks a lot better on the part of Mikhail. It doesn't curl back as much as I think they were thinking. But it's in the house, and it's going to force Fleming to make a play on it. And that is what Wayne Fleming is set up to do. So it looks like Jason Halleck has the broom down for a soft weight hit. I think it could go. Obviously it could go one or two or multiple ways. But I think they're thinking that if it curls just enough, they can hit and roll under the center, or if they just get a piece of the blue and stick around, that's also fine. And then just kind of really force Akiyama to to possibly blank. We are in stip stones, so each team has 2 more stones at this end. And here we go. Sweepers jumped on it pretty early. So it looks like it's curling. It needs to, okay, it looks like the line's really good. Mission accomplished. Rolls outside just a little bit, but definitely sticks around. Now Akiyama, this is going to be an effort to manufacture what they call a skipper's deuce, a stip's deuce. They're going to try and hit and roll, and with that yellow rolling just a smidge outside, it makes it a little easier for Sota to hit the right side of that shot stone that Simon has the broom next to. If they roll under center, it looks like they have a decent chance to get a deuce and take the lead coming home. Let's see if Akiyama has it dialed in here. So they're just cleaning right now, keeping the sweepers off. It's hanging out a little bit more. It's just going to nose hit. Does get the yellow out. However, now I think the blank is on. Depending on what happens. If Fleming hits and rolls under the cover, then Akiyama is probably going to draw and be forced to 1. However, if Fleming makes a slight miss, in that he noses the blue out and sticks around, I think Akiyama will likely try and hit and roll out, to make sure the house is clean and go on to the 8th and final end with the hammer down 1. So let's see here. Here is Wayne Fleming's last here in the 7th without. So it looks like it's curling up okay. They need a little bit more, a little bit more. It actually is a nose hit. So now the blank is on for sure, or faux show, as young people say. So this is still, it's not a gimme, um, but it's this Yellowstone's at the top of the house, and so I think Akiyama has a really solid chance of blanking. Even like a nose hit, I mean, he'd have to hit it like right on the schnoz to get one. If he's just on the outside, that blue shooter's going to roll away from the house. He used to, okay, looks pretty good. Shot still rolls out, shooter rolls away, and it is a blank in the seventh end. So Sota Akiyama heads to the eighth and final end of regulation with the hammer down one when we come back to the 2023 MoPac Men's and Women's Club Playdowns. Looking around the rings, looks like there's, excuse me a second. Sorry. So it looks like there's one game on the sheet, on the ice still, aside from ours, our feature game. The other games are finished. Sheet one. Okay, so the other game in action is on sheet four. It is Team Lazarowicz with a hammer and yellow rocks in the seventh end, down 8-4 to Team McBride from Hollywood. The other games have finished their play. Sheet one, it was Team Claire Coyotes over Team Barajas. Sheet three was Team Sadians pitching a shutout over Team Mendoza. And then on sheet five, Team Baxter out-hit Team Horseman 8-1. So that brings you up to date. All the games scores are on bondspieler.com. And it looks like we're close to getting started with our final end here of regulation. There can be an extra end. Teams do get an extra timeout if that's the case. And it's 7-6, Team Fleming mounting a superlative comeback over Team Akiyama. 7-6 over Akiyama right now. This is Jason Nee's first, I believe. We had a comment about the setup here, and San Francisco Bay Area has built just a wonderful camera setup. Obviously, these multiple cameras that we're able to control our broadcast with. Also, the overhead cameras are all the HD cameras, so we have really great views over the houses on all the sheets. The scoreboard cameras are security cameras, so but that's kind of the choice that they made, which is understandable. This is on to the second. And then I normally use a different setup when I broadcast, but I was able to come into the club and start broadcasting within about 30 minutes of familiarizing myself with the setup. So a really great job from San Francisco Bay Area. We're really happy to be here this weekend, and I hope we're going to have some really good games from a lot of great teams here participating from throughout our MoPac region. So Akiyama, they need to at least get one to force an extra end, deuce for a win, and looks like they want to try and draw under, perhaps. Both teams have plenty of time to finish this game. Akiyama has just over 5.5 minutes. Fleming has just under 10 minutes, and if Fleming takes 10 minutes to play this end, I would be mighty surprised. I wouldn't be happy, but I also wouldn't be surprised. So this is Nee's second shot here. I think looking to draw behind that corner guard that Onken threw. Waits maybe just a smidge on the light side. Let's see here. And indeed, just a smidge on the light side. Turns out to be another corner guard. And so Fleming is looking at the situation here. Pardon me. So it looks like Fleming's shot. So the Akiyama's calling a timeout. So both teams are kind of moving to their respective corners. Uh, Looks like Fleming kind of moved some rocks around and kind of pushed Akiyama into the house. And so now Akiyama, I think, is kind of looking to see what they could do to manufacture a deuce. See if we can listen in. Can't quite hear them. Okay, so our microphones, I don't think, can quite pick up the conversation. Um, Kind of looking at their options. I think they were thinking about maybe maybe kind of hitting their blue. If they hit and roll into the house, they could kind of split the rocks in. Um, they're looking at, I think, making a play on the yellow rocks in front of the house. But I think ultimately what they've chosen to do is to make that play on the yellow rocks. I think kind of establishing their control of the front of the house, and then being able to maybe promote their stones in later to get that deuce. And so here we go with Kevin Jorgensen's first stone. He has to curl, so Knees was trying to help push it over a little bit. Looks like it's going to get over to the yellow rock. Um, it pushes the yellow into the house. So now yellow is sitting shot. The blue shooter rolled next to the blue. So that's a dangerous situation for Akiyama and uh, a tempting potential double for Fleming. However, Fleming is content to leave those blues in place and is going to kind of draw around them, actually. So here's the rock coming from Maloney, I believe, Kevin Maloney. Oh, it crashes on the guard. So that's still not a bad outcome for Fleming, just because it makes it harder. You know, it's another center guard, harder for Akiyama to get into the center of the house for a scoring shot. Um, and I'm curious to see what Akiyama wants to do. So now I think they want us to try and split their rocks into the rings. So if they hit the blue correctly, they could split both of those blues and kind of spill them into the top of the house. Um, and I don't know if they'd be shot, but they would definitely get two more counters into the house. At some point, they would need to take care of that yellow on the right side on our view. Um, it looks like Akiyama wants to take care of that sooner rather than later. It's a tricky situation because as he's kind of gesturing with a broom, it's kind of hard to see that shot rock on the right wings there. So now they're back to looking at splitting the blue rocks into the house. So this is going to be Kevin Jordansen's last, and so it looks like they want to peel out their own blue stone so that they can get to the shot rock for the next shooter. This is Kevin Jorgensen's last. And they just need to peel. Okay. They need to peel. The peel was successful. I said ooh because I thought there was a chance that they could run that blue back onto the yellow, but no, it went wide and out of play. But it does open up a path to the shot stone. So now Fleming has to decide what to do. Looks like Fleming is perhaps going to guard or draw around the corners with the counterclockwise turn. I think they're going to guard. So this is the first from Vice Jason Halleck. And thought it was a guard. It is going to actually touch paint, settle in the 12 foot, and does kind of protect the shooter, the shot stone, pardon me. The shooter is protecting the shot stone. And so now Akiyama wants to kind of clean house again on that side. There's a potential for a double there if they hit it just right. So after talking with Mikael Simon, Sota Akiyama has the broom down. Let's see. Hopefully, they need to get rid of one. Hopefully, both. Jorgensen's on it. And it looks like they're going to get the shot stone out, and then it's going to roll across the house and through, out of play. So someone's asking if the device for Fleming was a musician or is a musician. I don't know. That's not in his bio. Maybe that's something to ask over broom stacking after the game. An interesting situation. So Akiyama does get rid of the shot stone, but now Fleming is still shot. They were sitting 2. Now they're sitting 1. And Fleming is in a decent situation to really force Akiyama to win or steal to win here. Um, Fleming has kind of two paths here to victory. He could steal the win by preventing Akiyama from scoring, or he can force Akiyama to win and then go into the extra end with a hammer. So Wayne Fleming is holding a decent amount of the cards here. If it was a 5-card stud, he's got 6 cards. That's how we play poker, right? So they had the broom down, set up for a draw for Wayne Fleming's first. Fleming kind of talks it over with his front end before getting set in the hat. Here is his delivery. Looks pretty nice. Brian Onkins on it with the broom. I think it's light, and it looks like it is going to wreck on perhaps the blue guard. No, it's around the blue guard. It does wreck on the blue-yellow guard that was in the top of the house, and it rolls to the 12-foot. Fleming might be 2, or I'm not quite sure about how Akiyama is stowed at the top of the house, and that view is. So Akiyama throws a quick hit, gets rid of that yellow that Halleck just threw, lose the shooter. So we're kind of back to where we were before 2 shots ago. So Fleming is thinking it over. I don't think they've called their timeout yet. I think they're still in really great shape to force Akiyama. I think Akiyama is just really hoping to get rid of that Fleming shot stone so that they could try and split the stones. They're blues that have been kind of in the top of the house since the beginning of the end. Now the front end is coming down to talk about it. They have plenty of time. So it looks like they're thinking about what the best approach is. I think they're looking to see if they draw in. If they draw in and are sitting 2, they're sitting 2. It's going to be really hard for Akiyama to get rid of any like one or both of the Fleming stones. They're also kind of maybe thinking about teaming it towards the top of the house, which is a good strategy, so that Akiyama can't really, they can't like draw to any of the Fleming stones on the bottom of the screen. And then they're looking over at the Akiyama blues on the left side of the sheet here. I just kind of seen what the scenario is for Akiyama. That's part of the game. Is thinking about if you do this shot, what type of shots are going to be available for the other team. And it looks like they've settled on doing the draw there. After taking time to think about it. And I think they're going to try and draw to basically almost like full 12-foot, or at least like a full half stone, so that they're out counting the Akiyama blues on the top left of the screen. So, a bit of an interesting situation here. Here is the first of 2 stones coming from Wade Fleming. Supers are on it. kind of looking up to judge the weight in the line. And they do want it to be, I think, close to full 12 foot. It's slowing down. I think it's going to get to the house, maybe. Not quite. So now the opportunity is there for Akiyama. If they hit and roll under, they'll be sitting 2, and they'll be under cover. So Akiyama now really has a chance to get a deuce and pull out the win here. Definitely, the needs to be like right on target and get a good roll, but not too much of a roll. The shooter needs to stick around here. This is also a tough shot for Akiyama. Uh, that's I think the sign of a good game is that there's there's a lot of hard shots to make, and then the joy in curling is when you make those really tough shots. So Broom's down. I think they want to try the hit and roll here. Uh, I think they don't. I think they need a hit and roll here. I'm trying to think about what the miss is. I think a nose hit's not too bad. I think hitting and rolling out is maybe the worst case scenario because there's a lot of ways for Fleming to get back into the house on that side. So the shot's underway. It's kind of hanging out. This actually could be a miss. And indeed it will flash that yellow, and that's unfortunate. So now Fleming has a chance. They're calling a timeout. They're calling a timeout. This is going to be very interesting. So this is another big call coming for Team Fleming. Uh, really looking over their options here. I think they're looking at possibly raising their yellow under cover, and I think that would really make it hard for Akiyama to draw in for even one. Um, the left side of the sheet from this angle is open, so Akiyama at this point to this point has had the draw for one still available, and I think Fleming is looking to make sure it's as hard as possible for Akiyama to get that draw for one. Uh, uh, Cornell in the chat is pointing out that there's an angle tap raise to get two, and I agree that looks there. They're looking at it really hard. Um, so they're looking at all the angles. That's also a fun part of the game is looking at all the angles. Looks like the front end feels like they've had their say, so they're going back. Clock is running again, just over 3 minutes remaining, so they are getting set, and they do have the broom down. As they clean the draw path, I think they're looking, based on where they have the broom, I think they're looking to draw, and if it taps, that's great. If it's a guard, I think they're okay with it. I think they don't want to leave an option for Akiyama to score more than one here. So I think what they're doing is that they're setting up for hopefully a draw tap. But if it's light and it's a guard, I think that's not the end of the world. Here we go. This is the final shot coming for Wayne Fleming without the hammer. So it looks like they're doing the draw tap. Weight looks pretty decent. They got the tap. It's raising towards the button. And well done by Wayne Fleming, raising that shot to the top button. And so now Akiyama, he has another tough choice on his own. They're lining up to do a in-off off of the yellow that Simon has the broom nest to, and hoping to roll over to the shot stone on the button. So this is a high level of difficulty, and the pressure is on just to tie this game.
Still surviving. God now. Ice cream, baby. Oh, are you tying? Oh, ice cream.
And this is the last shot coming from Sato Akiyama. Sota. Lots of weight. It looks like it. Is it going to be there? It's really close. It noses the yellow and does not roll toward the center. And that is handshakes between both teams as Fleming steals the win, 8-6 over Team Akiyama. Team Akiyama jumped out to a really big lead of 6 after 2 ends, but Fleming kind of clawed their way back into the game with a lot of doubles and a single, and just stole the win. So a well played game by both teams, and I think that concludes the action on our ice. All the games are in the books, so just to recap really quickly. The winner of the first game was Team Leclerc over Barajas. Sheet 2 was Fleming over Akiyama, as we noted. Sheet 3 was Sidians over Mendoza. Sheet 4 was McBride over Lazarowicz. And Sheet 5 was Baxter over Horseman. Coming up at 12:30, just about over an hour from now, we're going to have our second game of the quadruple header. It's Team Meyer taking on Team Hernandez. We hope you'll join us then. In the meantime, I'm going to take an allergy medicine, hopefully stop sneezing, and we'll be back. In the meantime, for all of us here at MoPac and the San Francisco Bay Area Curling Club, this has been your host, Ryan, saying so long.